Greetings everyone, welcome to issue 17 of the Archie Mega Man series. For this issue and the next, we'll take a look at the origin story of Mega Man's older brother Proto Man. Up until recently, we've been getting hints here and there about Blues, from Light mentioning his name in issue 2, and remembering him in issue 3. Though in this case, the artist jumped the gun on his appearance since he did not have the iconic helmet at that point. We also saw a cameo from Blues in issue 8, and that was it until we saw him in issues 15 and 16, being found and fixed up by Wily and becoming Breakman. There is that brief mention of the incident that led to the fallout between father and Robo-Son. While Blues doesn't want to talk about it, we're going to see it today. We begin with Rock asking, "Who is Blues?" The story doesn't waste any time. He's cleaning up the database when he came across a list of all Light robots built thus far, with DLN-000, Blues, listed as missing. Dr. Light fesses up that Blues is Rock's older brother. Rock takes this revelation surprisingly well. Good to see he's still optimistic after 16 issues of hardship. He hopes to meet him, but Dr. Light says he can't. Blues was his greatest triumph and greatest failure. Dr. Light begins telling his story. Many years ago, Light had just completed Blues with Wily, still considered a friend, present. Wily questions why this advanced fighting robot built for the military looks like a young man. Light tells him future robot masters will be capable of warfare, among other things, but this prototype will stay with Light as a son. In fact, the first thing Light does when Blues activates is hug him. Light is also amazed how self-aware Blues is minutes after being turned on. Wily doesn't care. He's collecting measurements for the eventual weapons upgrade. Light says the weapons can wait. I'm gonna let my Robo-Son take in some culture. We then get a montage, including how Blues got his trademark yellow scarf, visiting an art museum with Blues' hair covering certain bits, communing with nature, enjoying music, and finally getting a pair of sunglasses because we are not allowed to see Blues' eyes. One day, Light overhears Blues whistling a song while working. A little ditty he's made up. Here is that song. If you're wondering, those are the actual musical notes. Despite instilling values and culture and such, we're soon reminded of the reason Blues was built. The military wants that advanced fighting robot. They witness a live fire demonstration, and Blues is holding his own. And for the record, it's nice of Light to provide Blues with a helmet to protect that weird hairstyle. Unfortunately, the demonstration takes a turn for the ugly as he starts to short out, leaving him vulnerable to some smaller robots. The sight of his Robo-Son getting sliced up causes Light to stop the test. When asked what happened, Light explains Blues' advanced systems require a lot of power, and the output demanded was pushed to the limit. The military guys discuss the test. They see promise, but the power failure is a problem. One of them suggests making simpler models that use up less power, and thus they agree to continue funding Light's research, all while Light is cradling Blues. Back in the lab, Blues recovers after a good charge to find Light and Wily arguing about him, specifically about the faulty power generator. We learn Wily designed said generator, but Light's the one that installed it due to Wily being banned from working on advanced robotics. Wily then blames Light for not installing the generator properly, which he thinks caused the imbalance when Blues approaches. Light tells him about the power issue that will eventually destroy him, and to fix it, he'll have to redesign the power core. Wily states there is a chance Light may screw up and erase Blues' personality in the process. Light's confident things will work out and orders Blues to hook himself up back in the lab to maintain stability in the meantime. However, Wily's last comment seems to struck a chord, or the robotic equivalent, in Blues. That night, Light's video chatting with Dr. Lachlan Day while Blues overhears things nearby. The conversation boils down to Blues has the closest thing to free will, but but he's not thinking logically about his situation. And here are the words that will forever change the relationship. Light says it would be easier to remove Blues' rebellious streak, aka change his personality. Blues storms off before hearing Dr. Light taking back what he just said, but the damage was done. Blues packs as many E-tanks as he can carry and leaves Light Labs for good. The broken picture of him and Light symbolizing the situation perfectly. Back in the present, Light finishes the story to Rock. Rock, again the optimist, wants to go looking for him. Dr. Light shoots the idea down. According to him, Blues' power generator would have gone offline by now, but we know better. Part 1 of the tale ends with Light wondering whatever became of Blues after he left. Now we're not done with the issue yet. For the first time in this series, we have a backup story. It starts with the Light family visiting Guts Man at a dam construction site. They're here to provide help in finishing the dam. DLN 065. Concrete Man. Guts Man doesn't need help. He can finish this all by himself. That's true under idyllic circumstances. But Light's worried that the unusual amount of heavy rain could destroy a town downstream if the dam's not completed fast. So Guts Man is stuck with the help. As the two get to work, they take pot shots at each other. That comes to an end when the dam starts leaking. Guts Man holds it in place while Concrete Man seals the gaps. Even the break at the top cannot stop these two as Guts Man throws a block at it, and Concrete Man seals it up. And so the experience has made them friends. The Light family returns to find a completed dam, but no sign of Guts Man and Concrete Man. That's because they're out drinking and doing some karaoke. Of course Guts Man would pick karaoke. And that's where we end the issue. The backup story is your typical plot. Old worker and new worker do not get along until something forces them to work together and they become friends. The true purpose of the story is to introduce us to Concrete Man, a robot master that debuted in the game Mega Man 9. Given the story of that game, it makes sense for him to appear early on. For those unaware, the plot involves Mega Man going against 8 of Light's robot masters who have reached their expiration date, although the one responsible for the attack is, of course, Dr. Wily. The art is done by Jamal Peppers, who is known for his work on the Archie Sonic comics. He's a welcome addition to the book from what I can see. I'm giving this story a 7. It may be a bit on the cliche side, but the robots were competent when they needed to be, and it's a nice fun story after the emotional roller coaster of the main one. Speaking of which, Blues' origin tale. It's an expansion on sources compiled from Capcom Friendly Club's Mail magazine from the fall of 1996. The Reploid Research Laboratory Monday Blues provided the translations, and Proto Man's description from the game SNK vs. Capcom Card Fighters DS. The general outline is Dr. Light builds the first independent robot, Proto Man, or Blues in this case. Blues has a faulty solar power core. Light needs to change the power core to save him, but Blues doesn't want that to happen for fear of losing his sense of self and runs away from Light Labs. Now let's talk about the details pertaining to this issue. Blues was built because Light was fulfilling his end of the military contract, something Light mentioned back in issue 1 as a necessary step to start Light Labs proper. There are a lot of call forwards to earlier issues. Wily's unethical robot experiments are brought up, which were also briefly mentioned in issue 1. The conversation Light has with Lolin Day about independent thinking robots is something they debate in greater detail in the future. In fact, Light considers their little video phone chat a debate. Also, Light voices caution to Lolin Day about independent thinking robots if she proceeds with Project Tempo. I wonder if Lolin Day was thinking of this moment when Quake Woman had that accident and used it as a basis for her argument at the Arts Expo. Let's shift back to Light and Blues. What makes their falling out more tragic was the montage of them bonding. Light buying the trademark yellow scarf makes it more a tragic keepsake, and the iconic tune probably inspired by them attending a concert. Part of the reason for their falling out, as Light would later confess to Rock, he was naive. He kept pushing his beliefs on Blues without considering what Blues wants. Not helped with Wily bringing up how fixing the power core might alter Blues' personality. The breaking point was Light saying something he didn't mean, within earshot of Blues, and Blues storming off before he can hear Light take back the statement. didn't. I suppose it's analogous to the faulty power core itself. Blues kept pushing and pushing until it reached the breaking point, leaving Blues in a bad state. The main story gets a 10, with Blues, Breakman, Proto Man, whatever you want to call him, becoming more prominent in the series. It's a good idea to show his backstory for the benefit of the reader, whether they're Mega Man fans or not. If I have one criticism, it's that I want to see a little more doubt from Blues besides the power core issue. Maybe have a panel or two of Blues showing doubt as he's put under to get his weapons installed, but then he would push that aside because he trusts Dr. Light, which would make the weapon test scene a little more tragic. I'm surprised Rock is learning about Blues now, before the events of Mega Man 3. He would find out about him at the end of that game. Even with Light trying to keep Blues a secret and eventually telling his sad story, Rock enthusiastically wants to meet him. Oh my dear super fighting robot, you will, and it won't be pretty. For now, we've only seen half of Blues' backstory. Come back next time when we take a look at how he'll eventually end up in Wily's clutches in issue 18. There's something familiar about Roll's rain outfit here. It'll probably come to me in a couple of issues.